Well, a surprise, surprise, guys. A happy Saturday evening to you all as the days of summer are upon us. And welcome to Generational Change, this special edition on Saturday night. Now, for those of you who are new, and obviously those who have been with our channel for a while, I used to do a segment every once in a while, solo, called Pontificating with Pete. Now, this obviously is a little bit different. I didn't want to change our branding at the last minute, but every once in a while, a significant situation occurs where I just feel that it is necessary for us to get together, have a conversation, and talk about a handful of topics that are completely relevant to the moment, moments that we should not just allow ourselves to wait until the next show. Sometimes it is imperative that we talk about them now. And the reason I wanted to come on this evening and have this conversation with you guys is because, as pretty much I would imagine a lot of you know, today was, yes, it was President Trump's birthday, but it was the 250th birthday of the United States Army. And so it just so happens to coincide with Trump's birthday, so it should come as no surprise that he went absolutely insanely over the top with the celebration today, to the tune of, my understanding, $45 million is the tab that was spent on this very king-like activity in our nation's capital. With that said, we have a lot to cover regarding what has happened over the past few days. Now, as you know, when we went live on Thursday with my two good friends, Anthony Paz and Osiris, it turns out that Israel decided that they were going to have a preemptive strike on the Republic of Iran, attacking Tehran specifically with endless bombing expeditions. And we all know what has happened over the last 24 to 48 hours. Iran has responded in kind. They have not pulled any punches, and they have shown an incredible amount of grace, I must say, considering how much saber rattling Israel has done in Iran's direction for quite some time. And so here we are, faced with the precipice of potentially something as catastrophic as World War III. I would certainly hope that that is not the case. However, when you see the activity that took place today, you have to wonder what the impetus was to have such a really spectacular, incredible display of really amazing people marching in the streets. But here it goes to show you, we're kind of like living in idiocracy right now. This is just a small excerpt from the march that happened earlier today in celebration of Trump's birthday, but also in celebration of 250 years of the U.S. Army, the first branch of the military that was established many, many years ago.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Coinbase.
I didn't realize that we were in the business of sponsoring our military marches. I would like to know how much money Coinbase actually spent on today's festivities. I can assure you that the only reason why they would do such a thing, as is everything in this country, it's all about give and take. Grease my wheels, I'll grease yours. Coinbase tosses several $1 million to Trump's party, and he'll cry if he wants to. Well, as we know, we have a president that is extremely favorable to the crypto world now because they've donated so much money to his electoral efforts. And now as president, they want to ensure their investment is successful. That is the whole purpose of doing something as jingoistic as this event was. But then you have an organization like Coinbase. What would be the purpose of them in sponsoring this event? Well, the justification that everyone is going to say, especially the die-in-the-wool Trump supporters, Well, it did cost $45 million, but we got big sponsorships, so they're going to end up paying for it. Yeah, and you're going to end up paying for it a lot harder because Coinbase is not giving a substantial amount of money in front of millions upon millions of people who saw this event today and are now going to say, what are you going to do for us? No one's giving out that type of money to sponsor this event unless they know they're getting something in return. That's a fact. That is how this works. That is the only reason why something like this would happen. So now some legislation is going to make it to the congressional floor that is going to be very crypto friendly, and odds are it's going to pass because we are living in idiocracy. Now, I'm not saying that this is anything different than, and Equanos, I don't know if I agree with that. Actually, I don't. We don't know the full extent of what that's all about just yet. So we have to keep that in mind. So let's not jump to conclusions just yet. There's clearly going to be more to it, and I'm going to get to the Netanyahu story very shortly because that was the main impetus of me coming live with you guys tonight, was to talk about just that and the layer upon layers that go into that whole story. These are very trying times, and a big reason for that is because we are now living in what would be considered the full realization of the corporatization of our society. That there is no stone that has been left unturned. If there is a price, it will be met. And in this case, it is very real that we are living in some form of an oligarchic, if not outright fascistic, society today, where the corporate state has merged with the government, fully merged. As I said, this is the United States Army 250th birthday. President Trump's 79th birthday. And it was a really great birthday, and I loved it tremendously. You're all really great people, tremendous people. What the hell does a private sector mega giant like Coinbase have to do with government affairs? Well, that's what happens when you have the merging of the corporate state and the government. That's why this happened. That's the big story. Not that Trump went absolutely apeshit for his birthday celebration, which was done in conjunction with the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. So keep that in mind. Everyone thinks that this was strictly about Trump's birthday. No, it wasn't. It was also in part because of the United States Army. With that being said, this is the big story. Corporate sponsorship. As I said, no one is sponsoring an event like this unless they're intending to get something in return. And as we know, the crypto world, you know, the Peter Thiels, the Alex Karps, all of these corporate fascistic type of individuals who have no loyalty to the United States whatsoever. They don't give a fuck about our country. They just give a fuck about their bottom line, and they will get it by any means necessary. And so right now, as was brought to my attention earlier, as it should come as no surprise to any of you guys, you already have tons of people trading on inside information as soon as Israel was dropping bombs on Tehran. They probably didn't anticipate that Iran was going to do the same to Tel Aviv. In fact, I don't know if you guys, if anyone in the audience happens to know this or not, because I don't want to misspeak. And obviously, if Jen were here, she could speak more to it than I certainly can. But what I would be curious to know is, has Tel Aviv ever faced this type of attack? I don't know. Maybe they've been bombed a time or two in the past, but Iran is making it painfully clear that this is going to be relentless, that they're coming for them and they will not back off. That's what's going to happen. Now, as I have been ranting here, I know you guys are going to find this incredibly impressive, and I am extremely impressed with our wonderful Saturday night audience, to the point in which I'm now going to have to consider what we're going to do as a channel and if this makes sense. We have passed the 500 live viewer mark for the very first time. If you guys are here for the very first time, our channel is Generational Change with a J. Our mission, which has been a mission for quite some time, is to transform politics into service. We are not here to go on one side versus the other side. I am not left, I am not right, I am not red, I am not blue. I am the red, white, and blue. I am for the United States of America. I am not for the leadership of the United States of America. I'm for we the people. Jen is for we the people. That's what we're here for. And that's why you guys are here. So if you haven't as of yet, please smash that like button. Please make sure that you are subscribed. Please make sure that you click the bell. Please make sure that you share our live stream with whomever you can so that they know about our channel. We have a lot of big things coming up this week, so I will inform you guys what to expect. Under normal circumstances, we live stream on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This Monday, we will have our good friend, Steve Grumbine from Real Progressives. He will be co-hosting with me. And then on Thursday, we will have our friend Kit Cabello from Hard Lens Media. He will be co-hosting with me then. And Kat Negrita is absolutely right. 648 of you are here, but only 133 likes. If you would be so kind and considerate, we would really appreciate it if you smash that like button. That will help get this stream out to even more people, and you'll be able to determine whether or not this is a channel that you want to support. We certainly hope that you do. We have been growing at an exponential pace over the past several weeks. We are extremely grateful for that. To say that it is gratifying would be an understatement. We just passed 28,000 subscribers. We are slowly but surely creeping up the ladder, as we will continue to try to do so as we go forward. We are very much on board with the idea of forming coalitions with a lot of other people on other networks that are on the same mission. Our friends over at Status Quo News, led by Jordan Chariton, and of course, our trusty MVP behind the scenes, Colin Tooley, who is also the producer of Status Quo News. Obviously, we mentioned Hard Lens Media, Real Progressives. We are also very friendly with a number of other channels, including Savvy Sabs, including Brianna Joy Gray, including Dude Dissonance, including our friend Willie Bragg of the Willie Bragg Show. You see, our goal is to try to bring together as many people as we can. And you're absolutely right, Brian. That is the best way to describe it. And we're going to get to that story very, very shortly. And I can only hope. No, thank you, Abdul, and thank every one of you that are here. See, we don't have a channel without you guys. Gene, clearly there's something going on with Greece. We don't know what it is, but we definitely hope to learn about it as soon as possible. But I leave this image up here for a reason. We constantly ask ourselves, what is it that has brought our country in many ways to its knees? Now, obviously, the Israel lobby has a lot to do with that. But the big reason that we are facing this circumstance, Peter, we have not collaborated with Glenn Greenwald as of yet, but we certainly look forward to doing so. And we'll be more than happy to have him on the channel. We have emailed him. We are trying. And yes, Kevin, grease is the word. Greasing the skids, if you will, which clearly has to be the case. As we know, Netanyahu, and we're going to get to the full story in a minute, but Netanyahu is a wanted war criminal all over the world. So what exactly did he do to be able to get asylum? Because that's really what it is. He has been granted asylum in Athens, Greece. And that's where he is. So you got to ask yourself, what exactly did he do? What exactly did the Zionists do to convince Greece that they should take him? All the while, the attacks are coming fast and furious. So that's what's happening now. And credit where credit is due for the moment. Iran, as I said, has stood on the sidelines for a very long time. They have been very, what you would call, patient with not only Israel, but us as well. There has been an incredible amount of patience on their part not to go absolutely apeshit, but you're going to bomb the capital of Iran and kill countless civilians. The big issue right now, and I just made a post on our YouTube channel about how Donald Trump really holds all the cards right now. Because there is immense pressure already in this very moment from the Israel lobby on Trump's head to get the United States involved. Because the Israelis are absolutely losing their minds as to just how detrimental this circumstance has turned against them so very quickly. They could never have anticipated that this was what was going to happen, that Iran was going to fire right back at them, and with complete prejudice. They are not letting up, and they're not going to let up. They have been pushed one too many times for way too long, and they are now in it to win it. I hate using sports terms here, but this is ostensibly what's happened here. Guys, we have passed we're almost at the 1,100 viewer mark. If you haven't hit that like button, please make sure that you do. Please make sure that you subscribe. And then, of course, please make sure that you share and click the bell. This is what brought us to this point. You know, we've already had one member of the chat bring up the fact that this is essentially Operation Cowardly Lion. That's essentially what Netanyahu has done here. And so this is what the most psychopathic leader in the world had to say just before Israel decided to attack Iran on Thursday night.
Ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival.
What threat? What the fuck are you talking about? Iran has done everything in their power not to get involved with these conflicts. Netanyahu is not just a cowardly lion. He is not just a war criminal. He is a genocidal maniac who in many ways is doing this as a result of the fact that he is a wanted criminal, and he's a wanted criminal in Israel. I have only seen a few clips, courtesy of Ian Carroll of the Bibi Files. We are going to talk about the Bibi Files. We're not going to talk about it tonight, but we're going to most likely address it on Monday, because we're going to put a nice clip together for you guys. Like I said, this live stream was on short notice. Little did I know what we were going to be walking ourselves into. We're at 1,250 live stream viewers, completely shattering the highest mark our channel has ever hit before, which is about 375. So clearly we're going to have to give strong consideration to Saturday night viewing, although I don't know if it's because we're not really going up against any other channels, or because of the story that is being talked about right now, or if this just happens to be a time for a lot of you guys that you would like to see a live stream go on. So I certainly welcome any feedback in the chat if you guys think that Saturday night is a night for us to consider. We've noticed that the numbers on Monday nights are not nearly as strong as Thursday nights. But certainly, as I mentioned, any and all feedback is tremendously appreciated. And that's why we're here. We're here to hear from you guys. But when I think about Netanyahu, when I think about this man, when I think about the things that he has done for so many years, this full-fledged bastard of a person who has sent countless people to die. And now he's sending his own people to die. And meanwhile, this cowardly lion has fled to Greece. He's not sticking it out with his people. Listen, if there was one thing, I don't give Zelensky much credit at all, especially with the whole circumstances between Russia and Ukraine. But let me tell you, Zelensky, he sticks in his country. When the going gets tough and the bombs are dropping, he's there. Netanyahu, the second any threat is even thrown in his direction, he's gone. Goodbye. Hey, you guys fend for yourself. It ain't my problem now. Could you imagine? The second it even gets slightly hairy, he's gone. Goodbye. Naim, from your lips to the higher powers' ears, whoever that may be. Kip, that is a great question. Why are they harboring a war criminal? The biggest war criminal probably walking the earth right now. It's quite a few of them, don't get me wrong. But Netanyahu is pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad. And so while he's up here making this statement, he's not even doing it in defense of his own country. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that literally is hanging his own people out to die? I mean, he is really hanging them out to die. Why would Athens take him? I have a friend who's high up in Greek politics. I have inquired. I haven't gotten an answer back yet. If I can share it, if I get it, you better believe I will. Can't reveal a source, but I can tell you. And Vicky, a lot of people are going to share your sentiment. Why would you ever go back to Greece? A lot of people are going to say, well, you take him, why would you take us? Actually, I have to do a little something while we're live here. I am doing this because Jen asked me to do it, and I am going to hold up my end of the bargain. It turns out, guys, we actually have a new $25 patron. And anytime we get a $25 patron, it goes without saying that we must acknowledge. So Noah David Linden, thank you so much for becoming a part of our small but mighty channel that is growing. And if you guys are so inclined, and we appreciate each and every one of you that are here, for as little as $5 a month, you could become a supporter of our small but clearly mighty and growing channel and support our efforts to continue to get the message out there about the truth about what's going on right now, which is Netanyahu is trying to drag us into World War III. That's it. President Putin has already said that Iran has Russia's full support, especially if the United States gets involved. I mean, there's no fucking around now, guys. This is serious business. And so I think it's incumbent upon us to say as loud and clear as we can to the President of the United States, we are not going to war for Israel. Whether it's Iran, whether it's Syria, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Egypt, whether it's Turkey, we are not going to war for Israel. And if we do not go to war for Israel, I believe that it will strike a major blow against the Zionist state in this country. Israel's lobby has as much power and influence over our daily lives as any special interests in this country, whether it is private insurance and big pharma, whether it is big oil, whether it is crypto. They're number one because they inherently affect how our foreign policy is run and how our domestic policy is run. You see what's happening all over this country. You are not allowed to speak ill of Israel. You can go to prison now for practicing bank divestment and sanctions against Israel. I mean, that's insanity. But we have allowed ourselves to get to this point. The only reason why it might actually change now is because maybe they've bitten off more than they can chew. That's what we've gotten to. Netanyahu is so sure that he can drag us into World War III to save his sorry ass, I'm not buying it. And I've got to give credit where we all have to give credit where credit is due. There is a sizable libertarian anti-war movement within MAGA that wants no part of this shit. And they are making it abundantly clear every day that they are not getting on board with this. And remember, a lot of members of MAGA were a part of the war in Iraq. You are not hoodwinking. In many cases, these people have kids that are now of age to go fight this war if they get drafted, or if they're already in the military and they want them over there. And let me assure you, if we go to war with Iran, the odds that there will be an attempt, don't know if it'll work, but if there will be an attempt to have a draft, very likely. And then you'll see just how badly this country wants to defend Israel. Remember, they have a lot of money and they have a lot of power, but they don't have numbers. They don't. They've got a lot of Zionists in this country for sure, but people are seeing through their facade. People are recognizing just what a crock of shit their entire ideology really is. And it isn't just about the genocide that they have inflicted upon the Palestinian people, of which there will be an incredible reckoning for every last one of these motherfuckers, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz in my former congressional district in South Florida. They're all going to be sent to the fucking Hague, which is where they belong. But until that time, we have to think along the terms that MAGA talks about, which is America first. If you support Israel, you are America last. You are dragging us straight to hell, because that's where they're going to drag us, because now they're in trouble. Iran is not backing down. They have every intention of just like the Zionist psychopaths wiped Gaza off the map. Iran is now determined to wipe Tel Aviv off the map. That's what's happening. And that's why this cowardly fuck just ran over to Greece. Because he don't want to be there with the shit hitting the fan. Because he don't believe in shit. He don't defend his people. He defends himself. The most selfish, bigoted, psychopathic ideology on the planet is Zionism. And this is the guy who leads it. Along with Miriam Adelson, who supplies the money, along with several others. But they are the enemy. They are our enemy. And anyone who supports it is our enemy. And they shouldn't be in this country. Go to fucking Israel. Let's knock their asses out of our country. You do what you did to the Palestinians, we are kicking you out. We don't want you here. Or your ideology, or your control over our political and economic lives anymore. Let's finish this up.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat.
Oh, he seems really confident that he's going to be able to get this done. So why do you run away? I don't know. It seems like he's a coward, a very big coward. Guys, how many likes do we have at this point? We're at 1,917 live stream viewers. Can we get to 2,000? I think if a few of you hit that like button, we might just get there. I think that that's very possible. But it didn't just start here. It did not start here. Netanyahu's been doing this forever. As psychopathic, as pro-war, as out of sight, out of mind, insane as this man is, it didn't just start yesterday. It didn't start October 7th. It didn't even start on 9/11. It's been going on for many, many, many years. And here's the proof.
Take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you, that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Obviously, we'd like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq.
Incredible. What I would ask, and this is something that I think is kind of common sense here, why in the fuck are we inviting people of other countries to sit in front of our Congress and tell us what we should be doing with our foreign policy, of which their country has nothing to do with it? Unless they did have something to do with it. We have a clip coming up about the dancing Israelis. You guys are going to want to check that one out.
The question now is a practical question. What is the best place to proceed? It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how do it...
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
You know, what I love about Dennis Kucinich, and he was a fantastic congressman. If you guys are not familiar with him, he was one of the best Democrats this country had, especially in the 90s and 2000s. If you're not familiar with Dennis Kucinich, check him out. He was the real deal. He was from Ohio. Democrats like him, they don't exist anymore. They're gone. Goodbye. That's why he left and became an independent. And always support his efforts. That's why he's being very smug right now towards Mr. Netanyahu. Are there any other countries you think we need to blow up to appease your Zionist efforts?
Point.
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. But a third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is...
So he wanted to get directly to Gaddafi a decade before it happened. Really makes you wonder. You know, we had the privilege of having, when we had General Wesley Clark as a guest on our podcast, we brought up the fact that he mentioned all of the nations that were talked about as sort of the CIA plan for the Middle East. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Iran, I'm going to count them off, guys. Make sure I get this right. Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, or did I say Syria? Somalia, Yemen, and Iran. And the intention was to take them all out. And in my opinion, the whole concept is to create greater Israel. And that's why he's talking about this a decade before Benghazi and all those things that happened in Libya, courtesy of Hillary Clinton. But there is no question. How does a guy know all about this? Because this was always the plan. But the plan has been going off the rails. Can't stay on the tracks now because he got too big for his fucking britches. But not a surprise.
Trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. So you have here now three nations.
All stand together to stop Iran's march of conquest, subjugation, and terror. I know that no matter on which side of the aisle you sit, you stand with Israel.
Why? What do they do for us other than give us hell? The worst things that have happened for our country are a result of supporting this psychopathic Zionist state straight from hell. They offer nothing, they provide nothing, and all they end up doing is making the entire world hate our guts. You know, they do surveys all the time, all over the world, and they ask constantly, who is most responsible for there not being peace around the world? We're number one. You know who's number two? Them. Is that coincidence? But no, keep blaming Iran, keep blaming Russia, keep blaming China. That's the reason. You know, when I think about China and how they are eating us for lunch in many ways. Hey, Alex, thank you for commenting and thank you for being here. We can't appease everybody, but thank you very much because more people will now see our channel thanks to you commenting. So, what is the point? We are living in a situation now where we can actually break away from these people because the rubber's going to meet the road. With Iran leveling Tel Aviv, the pressure from the Israel lobby onto Trump and to every member of elected office right now is going to be completely at a fever pitch. Just think about it. This has been going on forever. In fact, I don't have much good to say about President Obama, but I will tell you that one of the times that I thought that Obama needed our full support was when this son of a bitch came and spoke to our Congress, and this may be the time. I don't know if it was 2015, if it was a little bit earlier, but this son of a bitch came and spoke to our Congress without the invite of the president. The president said no, and he went over his head anyway, and he still came here, and they let him speak. That's a level of disrespect of the president of the United States and the office that should never be tolerated. I would say it for Trump. I would say it for Obama. I'd say it for anybody. We handle our own shit. We don't need pieces of shit like him coming to our country and acting like he's the one in charge. And he has acted like he is in charge of our country for over 25 years. So what do you think is going to happen next? I cannot emphasize enough that when we talk about the cowardly behavior of this guy, that it will only get worse because now, because of the fact that the Israelis are under attack, they think that we are magically going to jump in there and give them full cover and support. Well, we're going to have a very interesting story to piggyback off of this in just a minute. But first, we must acknowledge our wonderful supporters who have already jumped on board this evening. S. Kolachuk, thank you so much for the 2 Canadian A. 666 is no longer alone. You're going to have to explain what you mean by that, but we certainly appreciate your contribution to our channel this evening. Liberty to Grown 2025. Thank you so much for the $20. It really means a lot. Tragic loss in Minnesota. 2 lawmakers and parents shot, reportedly by a radicalized Trump supporter. This is what extremism breeds. We need justice, not division. May their families find peace, and Satan Yahoo is a spineless pussy. Well, we don't know who did the deed, but is it really surprising that politicians in this country are now being targeted? Should that come as any surprise? I don't think so. This is a very serious situation here. We have a government that is bought and paid for by corporate special interests led by the Israel lobby. You know that Alex Padilla, the senator from California that everyone's acting all crazy about? I don't give a fuck about him because that guy's on his hands and knees for Israel. We don't have a functioning republic anymore. We have to take it back. That's where we are. So things like this should not surprise anybody. It's not good, but it shouldn't surprise anybody. That's the point. Sailor Jerry Swallow, thank you so much for the 5 Canadian A. The show is really worth $2 to watch. Wish I could do more. Your support and being here and spreading the word is support enough, and we really appreciate it. Roger Meadows, great to see you, brother. It's been a little while. Thank you for the $5. Trump trying to encourage Gen Z to enlist with Army anniversary, do you think Zoomers will be propagandized into enlisting like millennials were for Iraq? Well, here's what I'm going to tell you guys, and this is very important, and I hope you're all paying attention here. If you think recruitment for the military has ever hit a fever pitch before, you have seen nothing yet. There is going to be advertisements out the wazoo to try to get people to enlist without actually going forward and creating a draft. But it's not just going to be in the traditional sense of, oh, make something of yourself and join the military. Look, guys, I came very close. I signed my letter of intent to join the Army after 9/11. So I know what it's like to go through the whole, initiation process before I ultimately decided otherwise. And Lord knows I probably wouldn't even be alive today if I did, because I was 18 at the time and I would have been on the front lines. So what I will say is this. There is going to be temptation that is going to be thrown at these young men and women to join the armed forces. It's not just going to be about, we're going to pay for your education. We are going to help you buy a house. We are going to give you money. They are basically going to bribe people to join the military, and they are going to target people that are living in the most dire of circumstances all over the United States. That's what's going to happen. They are going to go full force into trying to get people to enlist. And they will do it with the people who are in the most desperate of circumstances. Those people that are basically having no other options. They may be living in a podunk town in Missouri or in Arkansas, and their opportunities are far and few between. But if they're promised an opportunity to enlist in the armed forces, and by doing so will be granted $50,000, $100,000, maybe more than that, depending on how long you serve. The longer you serve, the more you're going to get. Do you know how tempting that is for somebody who may not have much going for them? Extremely. We have a country that has no universal health care, does not have a living wage. The job opportunities are fading fast because we are being overtaken by artificial intelligence. We have not rescinded any of the trade deals, whether it was NAFTA, normal trade relations with China. I did the great job with that. Imagine the hell we would have been in had Hillary Clinton become president of the United States. The trade deals that they wanted to sell. And even more jobs would have been sent overseas. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we're fucked either way. It's the one and only truly good, if not great thing that Trump did as president, was axing the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which almost sure as shit would have been passed if Hillary was there. But desperate times will call for desperate measures, and this is what happens. This is why it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that people are going to join the military, regardless of what is facing our situation right now, because of the level of desperation that tens of millions of people are living in every day right now. So joining the military with the promise of financial stability is not out of the realm of possibility. Hell, we've got $1 trillion annual budget now for the military. The big, beautiful military, it's really incredible. I thought you were going to cut the military spending. You know, when Doge was formed, it was supposed to be you were going to get in there and you were going to cut excess fat in our government spending. Well, there's no better place to start than the Pentagon, and they never touched it. So it was all a ruse. Dwayne Vogel, thank you so much for the $5. Israel needs the U.S. involved. Beware of false flag attack. Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Is there any attack? It would be Israel and the neocons, not Iran. Well, listen, you know, when you've got a couple of politicians in Minnesota that apparently were shot at, the report is that they may actually be deceased. Yes, these are things that you have to take into consideration. And this is just the beginning. It's going to get worse, but hang on tight because we are in for a wild ride. Fuck it, Chuck. I got to say your name. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. And you guys can become YouTube members as well. JG1982 has gifted 5 generational change memberships. Thank you so very, very much. And thank you so much for the $5. Osama bin Laden wanted to do 9/11 after Israel bombed the towers in Beirut in 1982. You know, for those of you who remember the very Israel propagandized movie that I am guilty of having enjoyed very much as a kid, The Delta Force, what was considered one of Chuck Norris's best movies. Let me tell you, that is a film that is true Israeli propaganda if there ever was one. And it is in many ways interrelated to what happened in Beirut in 1982. So if you're not familiar with that movie, you may just want to take a gander at it to understand just how much of a propaganda piece on behalf of the Israel lobby that movie really was. Ice Rizzo, thank you so much for the $5. Do you know the Chinese education budget is the same as the U.S. military budget? Well, if you go onto TikTok and you see all the videos of how overly educated the Chinese children are and the things that they are capable of doing, it should come as no surprise, which is also why you've got so many people in Congress that are bought off by corporate special interests that do not want us paying any attention whatsoever to what's going on in China. Hence why they want to ban TikTok. That is the difference between our two nations in a big, big way. Merlin Evans, thank you so much for the $4.99. We really appreciate you being here. And JG, thank you for becoming a YouTube member as well. Nosmata, thank you so much for the I believe pounds. Greetings from Ireland. Keep boycotting Israel. Hey, man, I don't know how you got that swastika logo in there, but you did a hell of a job. And always a big shout out to Israel. You guys are phenomenal in your relentless pursuit of freedom and justice. You have been behind Palestine since day one. Credit where credit is due. And yes, I am Irish on my father's side. So as you can imagine, I have a great sense of pride and admiration for my home country. Mark J., thank you so much for the $2. Thank you, Pete, for speaking the truth. I don't know any other way to do it, guys. I don't know any other way to do it. That's what I do. I am here to just speak the truth. And not everybody's going to like it. So what I will say, and I think this is of tantamount importance now. You know, I never thought I would get to the point where our chat would become so big that I can't pay attention to what everybody's saying. But we are extremely grateful for all of you that are here right now. And as of this moment, we have just under 1,900 people watching. Only 1,000 of you have hit that like button. So if you could, we would really appreciate it. Let's get this stream out to even more people if we can. It's a Saturday night. If you guys are hanging out with me, I never thought I would have such a wonderful crowd that would be hanging out on this night. Because again, I kind of did this on a whim. This wasn't something, you know, that I thought I was going to do, but I felt the need to come on and talk about this because once it became clear that Netanyahu was going to cut and run, no surprise, I felt that it was necessary to come on and talk about this because for many of you that are new, Jen and I have been on top of this issue since day one. And what I mean by that is Jen is somebody who, for those of you who don't know, was raised Zionist in North Miami Beach, one of the biggest Zionist contingent of Jews in the United States, period. So she grew up in this place. She knows exactly what the modus operandi of these people are. I am going to play you guys a clip now that was released just a couple of days after October 7th, 2023. In fact, this clip was dropped 3 days after this happened. So while a lot of people took a grand old time to figure out exactly what the hell these people were up to, Jen was on this from day one. She said it took her many years to break away from the Zionist stranglehold that was instilled upon her from her childhood. Colin, if you have the clip, I sent it over. Please load it. This is going to give you guys an idea should be up in 1 second, but this is going to give you guys another opportunity while you're here. If you are so inclined, and since we have a huge audience this evening, guys, at Generational Change on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If you are not following us on these other channels, by all means, please go over if you so choose. And if you do happen to use those social media channels, we would obviously love to see you there as well. So, for those wondering how quickly we were aware of just how bad this was going to get and how this may have been a setup from day one regarding October 7th, this is a statement that Jen put out 3 days after October 7th, 2023.
Taught Palestinians that wasn't a thing. We were discouraged from using that term. We were taught that Palestine wasn't a real place. It was never legitimate until it was the state of Israel. All of the people in the area were referred to as Arabs. We were taught that Arabs were less civilized, were filthy, and that they hated Jews and wanted to kill Jews, like indoctrinated from a very young age. This level of Zionism is what is still governing people like my congresswoman, and I see them put out.
I also want to point out, for those of you who are not familiar with us and are becoming familiar with us, Jen ran for Congress in 2020 against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and we had a pretty good showing for a campaign that never got the proper support that it should have gotten. We ran a hell of a race, and we got just under 30% of the vote for a first-time candidate. We weren't sure if it made sense to go again, and so we started building out a podcast. But Jen decided to run again in 24, knowing full well that she very likely couldn't beat Debbie, but that we needed to use our platform to get the word out there about what was happening. Jen did not decide to run for Congress again until after October 7th, 2023, and the efforts that Wasserman Schultz has put forward alongside Netanyahu. And you want to talk about one of Netanyahu's closest confidants in all of politics? This is her. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she is as high up on the totem pole with Netanyahu as it can possibly get. And all you have to do is look up as many of the congressional publicity photos that Netanyahu has taken, and who is usually standing next to him? This person right here. And so Jen thought it was necessary to step into the ring and use the platform as best as she could to draw attention to the realities of the Zionist genocidal movement. And she did a hell of a job.
This sort of sentiment that is just so unbelievably ignorant. Anybody in Congress, anybody with a platform, anybody who has access to information at this point and does not acknowledge the Nakba, that Israel is an illegal occupation, that they're in violation of international law, and just keeps waving their Israeli flag, they are one of two things. They're either being willfully ignorant or they're lying. That's it.
And to think, this was done almost 2 years ago. I couldn't be prouder to call Jen a friend as well as a partner. I've been running this podcast for a number of years. We have never, it's incredible. You know, depending on how this live stream goes tonight, and clearly it's the biggest live stream we've ever done, we might actually secure in one night, the same amount of subscribers that we were able to ascertain over a 2-year period. From, I believe, February of 21 through March of 23, we had 1,500 subscribers that got added to our channel. We might get another 1,500 tonight. So to say that we are grateful for all of you being here would be an understatement. If there is one thing I can promise you about our channel that will be different than any other channel that you will see, especially if a crowd is this big, do you know who gets live stream viewers at this number? This is what 50 to 100,000 subscriber channels gets. We will forever be grateful that you are here. And we try to interact with our audience as much as possible. We don't just look for people to give us money and then we acknowledge that they're here. We want to communicate with as many people as possible. Thank you, Martha. We love that you're here. We love that you're all here. Thank you, Juan, for subscribing. All of you guys. Remember, we cannot do this without you. All of you here makes all the difference. So, why do I bring up what I just brought up about Jen and about October 7th and what has happened with the Palestinian people? As you know, it has been an absolute nightmare of epic proportions watching this all unfold over the past several, well, in this case, 2 years. The absolute systemic decimation, genocidal activity of Israel onto the Palestinian people, which, as far as I can tell, was planned, much like 9/11, much like a lot of other circumstances in our past. Remember, Lincoln's best saying, in my opinion, was this: you can fool some of the people all the time. You can fool all the people some of the time. You cannot fool all the people all of the time. Many people have been fooled for far too long, and they are now recognizing just how detrimental it is that we have a relationship with this so-called greatest ally. They are not our greatest ally. They are our greatest detriment. And we are going to fall as a result. And all the while that the Palestinian children's blood had been spilled day after day, night after night, month after month. I mean, that's when the end of our relationship should have happened, as Uncle Ned points out. That's when it should have ended. And now you get this shit. The IDF puts out a tweet last night saying Israeli citizens are currently being targeted by the Iranian regime. The world cannot stay silent. Well, maybe you shouldn't have bombed Tehran in the first place. Maybe that was a pretty stupid move on your part. So they bomb Tehran. Did they just expect that they weren't going to respond? That they were just going to take it? Or are they really counting on our president to say, oh, we're totally supporting you. We're going to give you everything you want, and we're totally on board. The United States will back Israel from now until the end of time. I don't know, guys. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they've backed themselves into a corner, and they're not going to get out of it. What about all these targets that were in Gaza and the West Bank over the past 2 years? How about that? Do you think that was ever a story? We pleaded forever to listen to those children's cries. I just finished reading this book. If I Must Die by Rifat El-Arir. What a time to bring it up. The last thing he talked about before he was bombed and killed: the Democratic Party and Biden are responsible for the Gaza genocide perpetrated by Israel. That was his last transcript before he was killed, December 4th, 2023. If you're not familiar with Rifat El-Arir, please check him out. All the things that Trump is doing now has been set up by the Democratic Party and the very system that allowed Trump to get into the presidency in the first place. That's why we're here. The Israel lobby spent $250 million on paper, because we all know about shit that goes on that you can't see. $250 million on the election, because we're not pro-Israel enough. While those children screamed and cried and prayed for some type of a resolution to their circumstance. And there was only so much that we could do. So much that we tried to do to help them. And we couldn't. And it kills me. And unfortunately, most of them are going to die. We cannot let them die in vain. There must be retribution for what has happened. We cannot ignore this. And this is part of that retribution. So I have zero sympathy. Zero. And you know the irony of all of this, guys? This is one of the people that decided to get in front of a camera last night in lieu of the retaliatory, not unprovoked, but the retaliatory response from Iran attacking Tel Aviv. You know, the irony of this person crying those pathetic tears is that she admits on camera that she was just given a home. Not that she bought it, but that it was given to her. The psychosis that Zionists go through, thinking that this stolen land belongs to them because somebody wrote it in a book 5,000 years ago, whatever the fuck it was. They took the home that was given to me and was taken from a Palestinian family because it belongs to us. Absolutely incredible. The lack of self-awareness that these people have knows no bounds. They really have no idea how stupid they look, how much everyone hates their guts, and what we must do, what is of immense importance on our part, guys. This is our job. The conflation between Zionism and Judaism. That has to change. That is our job. The Zionists want the equation of Zionism and Judaism to be one and the same. There is no separation. There is no gray area. What is one is the other. Forever. We cannot allow that to happen. We must cut ties with this genocidal nation that has had control over our government and with it, our way of life for far too long. Why do you think the Epstein files haven't been released? Why do you think the JFK files haven't been released? Most of the people that were involved, especially with the JFK assassination, they're all dead. Or could it be that there is information pertaining to that assassination that still has relevance today that has nothing to do with a person, but with an entity? We talk about a number of different topics on this channel, and we will continue to. But this is the issue of our time. We must disintegrate this relationship as soon as possible. Trump will go the way of JFK, potentially, if he severs the relationship with Israel. But what I will tell you, and I mean this, if Trump dissolves the Israel-US relationship, because that is essentially what we're facing here, guys. The disintegration of that relationship is on the precipice right now because of the fact that Iran is attacking Tel Aviv. The Israel lobby is demanding that the United States declare war on Iran. And if that happens, Russia will declare war on the United States, and we are in World War III. And then China gets involved, and India gets involved. I'm telling you, it's bricks. That's what's going to happen. This is an incredibly precarious situation that we're facing right now. I don't have a lot of faith that Trump is going to do the right thing. But he is our president, and I hope he does. This can get really good, really fast, or it could get really bad, really fast. Incredible. I mean, that person really thought that they were entitled to somebody else's property. It's just like that fat fuck who was out there a few years ago. He's like, well, if I don't get this property, somebody else is going to get it, so I'm going to take it from you. Very nonchalant. No big deal. This belongs to me now. Jen has a great word, caucasity. The caucasity of the Zionist movement. And boy, oh boy, do they have a lot of it. They got a lot of it, baby. No qualms. No hesitation. Stay vigilant. While everyone is out there putting up a tweet saying no kings, we should be putting up a tweet, no war with Iran. If there is no, we don't even need to say no more support for Israel. It's simply no war with Iran. Israel is backing itself into a corner that they're not going to get out from. They have in many ways sealed their fate. And I'm not even sure if we get involved, it's going to save it. Just the fact that Netanyahu fled tells you all you need to know. But I'm telling you, there's a part of me that really wants to see him get Gaddafi'd. There would be no sweeter justice. The only concern, of course, is what's going to happen. If you think Netanyahu's bad, Ben Gvir is even worse. And as I mentioned, on Monday night, and remember, guys, for those of you that are new, we normally live stream on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, we went live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday, and obviously this is blown up. Now, my guess is that one of the reasons this has happened is because there really isn't any other live streams going on right now. If we have found a spot where this allows us to kind of hit a stride, if you will, I would be open to a switch. I mean, our intention is really to do 2 shows a week. I mean, I have a career, so I don't really have the bandwidth per se. But if you guys are happy with Saturday night and you think that this is a good time for us to do our show, we will obviously have to give it strong consideration, without question. Still very gratified and appreciative that all of you are here this evening. Miles J., thank you so much for the 35 ZAR from South Africa. The Jews who fought against apartheid South Africa were against Israel too. The Jews who supported apartheid supported Israel. Now, Miles, it's really as simple as that. I think you would find that across the board with just about everybody. That's probably what is universally true. And the one thing that we have also seen that I think a lot of you have probably noticed, and we bring this up constantly, is that so much of what we are dealing with when it comes to the people who support the state of Israel, especially the Zionists in this country, this is very much a class war in a lot of ways. The people that have money and power in the United States that support Israel, that support Zionism, they're very much dominant in terms of class. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't middle class and working class Jews that support Israel or Christian Zionists that reside in, especially in the South and in the heartland. But especially on the Jewish side, it is absolutely class specific in many, many ways. Now, if I'm wrong and you guys think I'm wrong, please let me know. But from what I've observed, that is a huge part of it, without question. The Last Tour 911, thank you very much for gifting the 5 generational change memberships. JG 1982, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker and for gifting another 10 generational change memberships. You are on fire, my friend. Iwa Zymansky. Iwa Zymansky. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. I hope I said your name right. Not Bloody Likely. Thank you so much for the $13.99 Canadian A. We love you too, my friend, and we really appreciate you being here. Tartuga, great to see you. Thanks for checking in. Thank you for the $5. I love Judaism and hate Zionism. We know the difference. The genocide must stop, and Palestine must be free for all its people. Could not have said it better. JG with the $5 again. Rifat Al-Arir, if I must die, you must live to tell my story. Well, I am living to tell his story. And if you guys have not picked up a copy of this amazing book, get it. So there we go. Check it out. Highly recommend it. And please, if you would be so kind, go to bookshop.org. Do not go to Amazon. That's my other help the small business, screw the corporate oligarchy message for this evening. Mario Nace, thank you so much for the $2. Israel are using human shields. You damn right they are. I mean, look at this picture. I mean, that's all you really need to know. They sure as hell are using human shields. And they are not ashamed to do it either, baby. Dwayne Vogel, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. You've been an awesome supporter of our channel. We really appreciate you being here. And as I've said before, guys, if you are here and you're watching this evening, we are obviously doing numbers that we've never done before. We do not anticipate that it's always going to be that way. Of course, we would love if it was. We have secured an additional, I believe, 600 subscribers so far, but there are plenty of you here that haven't subscribed yet. If you would be so kind, we would really appreciate it if you would. We've got our awesome other MVP working behind the scenes, Rachel Garrett, Wild Vibes, asking you to subscribe and like if you would be so kind. Couldn't agree more, Shazad. No war with Iran. Let's not even worry about Israel. Let's just say no war with Iran. And that will cause Israel's demise because they are counting on us. We are their lifeline. We are their only lifeline. They have nothing. They really are they are counting on us to come and save them. That's what they're counting on. They are counting on our country to come and save them from everything that they have done to wreak havoc on this world. That's what's happened. And I'm telling you guys, that's what they're counting on. Well, hey, I'm not lifting a finger to protect them. I doubt you will either. I doubt anybody wants to. Sable, thank you so much. And yes, if you guys are so inclined, if you would rather send cash to Gen Change, which is fine, if Cash App is better, this is how you can do it. So any and all contributions, as we said, are tremendously appreciated. For those of you who are also here this evening, I want to be very clear. There is a lot of content that we have out there. Thank you so much, Mariqua. We have, I would say that that's an appropriate term, Will. I will not dispute. We have a lot of backlog info that you guys probably want to check out. You know, we've covered a lot of different topics on a lot of different issues. Got to check out our good friend Fuzzy Balls. Haven't seen you in a while. Fuzzy Balls with the $5. I'm telling you, you've got one of the best avatars ever. When you realize that Ukraine and Israel are both on Team Deep State and anyone who supports either are total douchers. As a person that I know that's in Democratic Party politics, who's a good impressioned young man, but he's still out there trying to pump up Ukraine, not recognizing that it's not just a lost cause. It's another project that you can't help but wonder was intended from the beginning. And we've been on it from day one. The whole point of the war in Ukraine was to control the over $7 trillion worth of natural resources in Western Ukraine, which is why we have been so adamant about trying to force Ukraine into NATO. And they've claimed, oh, we want to join NATO. Russia says, you join NATO, we go to war. They want to control those resources. And so as a result, we are now seeing the rebuild, if you will, whenever it ends, in different parts of Ukraine, including Kiev. And what are they doing? Who's getting the contracts? Oh, you know, BlackRock, Lockheed Martin. Who the hell do you think? When it's all said and done, as I said, just as Lincoln said, once you see the game, you can't unsee it. So remember that that's the impetus for why we do what we do. There are some truths that people are going to hear that they will love, some that they might not. And that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. That's the beauty of why we do what we do. F YouTube, Google steals money on here. For some reason, this came as a star, and I'm going to assume that there was some type of a contribution attached, Sable. Sable Miner is one of our OGs. She's been with us for a long time. Shazad, it's great to have you here. And please spread the word. It really means a lot. Obviously, tonight's been one of the more unique set of circumstances. I don't want to let you guys go just yet, because when an audience is this big, we definitely want to give you as much as we can about who we are, why we do what we do. I've got a clip that I want to have you guys see, and I think it'll also hammer home exactly why Jen stands for what she stands for. Colin, can you get the campaign ad? Ozma Ansari is one of our amazing supporters. Thank you so much for the $9.99. I mean, I stay sane because of all of you guys. You know, I'm here doing what I'm doing because I believe in all of you guys. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't acknowledge just how appreciative I am for each and every one of you. Libertarian listener to your channel, happy I found you guys. Channel a few months back. Mario, we can't thank you enough for being here. We thank all of you guys for being here. You see, the thing that we're very proud of on our channel is that we bring in people from all different walks of the political spectrum life. We do not see this as, well, you have to be on this side and that side. Look, we posted a clip earlier today about Emma Vigeland and her love for senatorial candidate Mallory McMorrow over in Michigan, and how she is clearly not just team blue no matter who, but she's team Israel. And because we criticized Emma for defending Mallory, who is clearly on board with Israel, we had people criticizing us in the chat about how we're not on the same team. We have to defend people like Emma and Sam Cedar. And I'm thinking, when it's warranted, yes. When it's not, no. And when they're wrong, they should be called out for it, not defended blindly like so many people want to do because they're friends or they're innocent. Don't work that way. I'm going to play this clip because I want you all to know what drove Jen to run for Congress against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I want you to watch this, not just with an open mind, but from somebody who ran against a fellow Zionist. Jen was a Zionist when she grew up, but she got away from it. So listen very carefully to this campaign ad. It'll really give you some incredible insight into what it means to break away from this absolutely genocidal, insane ideology that must be brought to its knees and removed from control over our daily lives.
This is me at 16 years old in Israel on a high school trip holding an assault rifle, and this is the definition of indoctrination. I grew up in North Miami Beach. I grew up in a very insulated, very Jewish community. We were taught that Palestine and Palestinians, that's not a real thing, that was made up by Arabs. Everybody over there that wasn't Jewish was just Arabs. But the message was always clear that Jews were not safe and that the Arabs wanted to hurt us. My relatives, my great-grandmother, my grandmother were raised with this fear mentality that without the state of Israel, Jews around the world will not be safe. True history was kept from us. We were propagandized. But as I grew older, I began to see a different reality unfolding. I witnessed the rise of the Israeli lobby, exerting its influence on our politics and policies. I learned about the injustices happening thousands of miles away in the name of Jewish people. And I can't stay silent in the face of such injustice. The right to return denied to so many Palestinians. The war fueled by the Israeli government and sanctioned by our own country, condemned by the UN and the International Court of Justice as genocide. We cannot turn a blind eye to this injustice any longer. To me, atonement is really taking accountability for your participation in something that you now realize was not correct in some way and wronged people in some way. I participated in an ethnic cleansing state. I do not feel powerless, I feel hopeful. It is time for us to use our voices, to stand in solidarity with the oppressed, to demand accountability from our leaders. As a candidate, as a mother, as an ally, I pledge to fight for justice and equity for everyone, here at home and abroad. For there can be no peace without true justice. I'm Jen Perlman. I'm running for Congress, Florida's 25th District.
It still makes me sad. Jen deserves so much better than the support she got. We knew what we were up against. We knew that this particular part of the United States, which is Broward County, Florida, the suburbs of Miami and Fort Lauderdale, which are a safe haven in many ways for the Zionist movement. Wasserman Schultz has been in Congress for over 20 years. And it is, I really wish that we lived in a country where people actually cared about the issues that really mattered, that we were given an opportunity to create an even greater sense of purpose and momentum for what we were trying to do here. As Jen has said, South Florida is kind of beyond saving at this point. And I often ask myself, what difference could Jen have made if she actually won? You know, is there really anything that we could have done differently that would have allowed even a one-term congressperson to have had the type of impact that would have been necessary in this moment? And the sad truth is that if Jen was running now, she would probably have an even greater shot because of how things are changing and starting to shift against Israel in a very profound kind of way. But as somebody who would canvass almost every day for several hours, who got countless blisters, lost more weight again, and was just tired. But then I realized why I was doing this with Jen. I was doing it for everybody, but I was especially doing it for those Palestinian children who in many ways just don't have a voice. And even the people that say that they have that voice, what can you do? So anytime I asked myself, was it worth doing? Was it worth fighting on her behalf? Was it worth fighting for this cause, even though electoral politics is basically useless at this point? I mean, it's probably been useless for a long time, but now more than ever, it has been exposed to just how futile it is to even attempt to try to go down that path. The path we seek is outside of electoral politics. And electoral politics matters, to be fair. It does, especially locally. But if we just made a little bit of an impact, if there were enough people that just heard the message, that understood why it was so vital to have one of their own in their own backyard tell them to stick it where the sun don't shine, and that this will not last forever. Well, I will tell you, it's almost a year now. It's almost a year since the election. It's 10 months. 10 months. August of 24. A lot has changed since then. A lot has changed. At the time, we probably thought that the circumstances were dire, and they certainly are. They still are dire. But I think it's safe to say that there is a change in the air, and it's happening right now. So we have an obligation on this channel to use it for good and to get as many people aware of the key issues that are preventing us from actually taking back some semblance of control over our country. If we are able to sever those ties with our so-called greatest ally, then maybe, just maybe, we might actually be able to save our republic. Maybe we can't, but I sure as hell am going to try. And as long as you guys are here supporting us, continuing to get this message out there. And yes, Jen took a much needed vacation. And where did Jen go on vacation? To the one country in the world that has stood with Palestine since day one. Jen is in Ireland as we speak, a country that is part of my heritage on my father's side, and for which I am extremely grateful that we do have people that care and that do right. I know there's only so much we can do. But as I said, we are going to fight like fucking hell for the Palestinian people must be free from the river to the sea. Who are we at? JG? Yes. Thank you, JG. USA is first modern ethno-genocide state. Where did Hitler and Zionists get the idea? Native Americans. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, brother. Cold Cuts, thank you so much for the $10. Peter, can you interview Osman Noor about his Project Palestine campaign? He's trying to get Hague Group states to form a military intervention to protect Gaza. He could use exposure, last hope, in my opinion. Rach, if you want to look him up, by all means. We're always open to having on lots of great people that bring any amount of semblance and help towards the cause. So, with that said, we're going to call it an evening in a minute. This was not expected, as I said. This was a last-minute decision to go live. We are going to be 1 week away from Jen's return on Monday. As I mentioned earlier, I'll mention at the close, Steve Grumbine of Real Progressives will co-host with me at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Monday. So if you guys are here and you have yet to click the bell, make sure you click that bell when you subscribe. If you click the bell, you'll hopefully will be given a reminder of when we go live, in this case on Monday at 7. And then on Thursday at 7, we will have our good friend Kit Cabello from Hard Lens Media co-hosting with me. We'll have lots of wonderful topics to talk about. And then next Monday, we will not only have Jen's return, but we will officially have our rebrand. And our first guest as part of our rebrand will be none other than maybe the most influential Jewish voice in all of academia on behalf of the Palestinian people, and that is Norman Finkelstein. So we are very much looking forward to that. We are very much looking forward to all of you guys returning on a regular basis. If this allows us to finally hit that stride and reach that next level. You know, the one thing I've noticed about this chat, guys, is how overwhelmingly supportive people are here of the Palestinian people. You know, and I'm not even going to dignify the Zionists that are in the chat that are trying to show us up. Just know that we are the genuine article. I do not speak ill of any other channels. All I know is that appreciate you, Patriot. Appreciate all of you. Our goal, which was always transforming politics into service, will change. It will evolve, if you will. But I tell you, I get a great deal of catharsis just knowing that we're not alone, that we have each other, and that there are good people out there that are fighting and fighting for the right reasons. I hope that this is just the beginning. I hope this wasn't just a flash in the pan, big live stream. But it looks to me like we've gained over 700 subscribers already since we started. So with that said, you got that right. We are the generational change community. I don't know, Rob, we might do it tonight. My goal, it was a lofty goal, was to get us to 30,000 subscribers by the time Jen got back. After tonight, we're going to be within striking distance. If you guys have any suggestions, and we always welcome them, we are not above suggestions. We welcome them all. Feel free to send them to generationalchange@gmail.com. You have story suggestions, you have guest suggestions, you have connections to certain guests that would be good for our channel. By all means, feel free to connect. We really appreciate each and every one of you. And for the final time tonight, M. Roush with the $4.99. I repped Free Palestine KC at the Kansas City No Kings protest today, and the people are with us. It's great to hear. The night is always darkest before the dawn. Yes, but no, we're getting there. Right, Colin? We will be there soon enough, and we look forward to that. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things that we ask you to do. We love you all. We'll see you Monday. And free